there, this is Devlin Miles of Sweet Little Bloodhound, and this week we didn't host Putnam's Unplugged Music Night due to the St. Patrick's holiday. There will be Irish music at Putnam's. So I thought for a special treat, because of the Irish-born couple, we have Gerry and Audrey Rooney, the owners and operators of Putnam's. One of these days I'll get Audrey to interview, but this interview is with Gerry Rooney. So without further ado, we have the interview with Gerry. And if you're looking for a little fun, Monday they're going to have an Oyster and Guinness Festival. And then on Tuesday, followed by a traditional Irish affair for St. Patrick's Day. So I highly recommend the corned beef and cabbage. It was delicious. And we'll be back next week with Songwriter Night for Putnam's Unplugged. And we'll have 4 songwriters. And this is episode 8 of SLB in the trailer. Thank you for listening, and please spread the word about the music scene at Putnam's as well as the Indie Artist Podcast. We really appreciate it. You can find, they're hosted on sweetlittlebloodhound.com, as well as you can find it on YouTube with pictures of either Putnam's or the artist that played that night, as well as on SoundCloud. You can link up there as well and hear live clips of performances. So thanks for supporting SLB in the Trailer Podcast. We really appreciate it. Without further ado, this is the interview with Gerry Rooney, episode 8. Hi there, this is Devlin Miles of Sweet Little Bloodhound. We're here at Putnam's at 419 Myrtle Avenue. It's Putnam's Pub and Cooker, to be clear. And it's 419 Myrtle Avenue, Cross Street, Clinton Avenue. And we have a special guest today. This is a special In the Trailer podcast with Gerry Rooney of Putnam's, who is the owner and operator of Putnam's Pub and Cooker. And we're going to ask him some questions about the establishment that he's created here. It's a sort of like a mirage, how it appeared where there was once a deli. So we're going to find out some specifics about how that came about. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Gerry Rooney.
Hello, how are you?
Now, Gerry, you're from what part of Ireland?
I'm from just north of... Can I just say one thing before we start? I've never been called special in a positive light. So that's the first, so I appreciate that.
I might have said special ed.
That's usually the word that follows.
All right. All right, Gerry.
Well, where am I from? I'm from Ashbourne, a little small town, about half an hour north of Dublin City.
It's small, like in terms of what capacity?
Yeah.
The population?
I think the population, I think it's about 15,000.
Okay, yeah.
It's like 5,000 when I moved there as a kid, so.
And how long have you lived here?
I've been in New York since September of 2002. So that makes it, 12 years? 12 years.
What brought you here?
I heard the streets were paved with gold.
Yeah. So you're saying you're a leprechaun?
Yeah, aren't we all?
There's a secret there.
What brought me here? I visited here in 2001, in August of 2001, and I visited a friend who was staying in Long Island, and it was my first time here. And the day after I arrived, I got on the train and I came into Manhattan. And walked out of Penn Station, and that was it. I was in love.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's from a small town to like a crazy city. Yeah. That's
I was like, this is a bit more my speed.
Right.
So I went home and packed up my things, as they say.
So since you've been here, you probably had various different positions and industries. What really brought about Putnam? So how did that come about for you?
What brought about Putnam's? 2000, and I guess it was 2010, summer 2010, I think, which was a particularly hot summer as far as I can remember. It was only a couple of years ago. I had just recently left the first bar, restaurant, gastro, pub kind of endeavour that I had began. So I'd spent a couple of months running around the city looking for my next big thing. And yeah, like I said, it was a particularly hot August that evening. I was feeling particularly sorry for myself, sitting at home sulking. And Audrey came in and she wasn't having any of it. me sitting around feeling sorry for myself. So we went for a walk. I think we were going to rent a DVD or something, would you believe? And only 4 years ago, we were still doing that. 5 years ago now, I suppose.
That is crazy.
To the Blockbuster that used to be down the street here.
Mm-hmm.
So we were walking over there to see if we could rent a DVD to watch. And we were on our way. We were walking back, and the lights were on in this deli. I used to buy beer and cigarettes in here. Mm-hmm. And the lights were on, and it was vacant. And the fucking lights were coming shining out like a like it was like oh. And Audrey just started going crazy. So truth be known, this was her find.
Ah.
She was like, young man, you need to stop sulking and put a fucking restaurant in there.
You know, there was.
So I was like, yes, boss.
That's interesting. She was testing. There was a test there to see if you were going to relay how it came about, and you passed the test.
Oh, okay.
Audrey will be pleased.
Oh, you already knew this story, did you?
No,
Yeah,
well,
right.
no, just briefly. But she said, "I wonder how it'll come out." Anyway,
Well,
moving
there
on.
you go.
So before, as you said, it was a deli, and it was. I mean, you couldn't even imagine the kind of space that was here before Putnam's. They really didn't maximize their space. It was a deli that didn't have a lot of things on their shelves. They didn't sell a ton of things, I found, because we live right across the street. And the fact that there was a downstairs here and everything. So how did that come about, your vision for design in this place? Because it's pretty amazing.
Well, it kind of had everything. When you're looking for a space to put a restaurant in, you just need to make sure it's not falling down, and you can really pretty much do anything with it. This place, however, was falling down.
Oh.
So when we got in and started tearing it apart, all the floor joists were all rotten through. So we had to do a lot of structural work.
Okay.
Put a lot of steel in to carry the weight of the massively impending amount of people that were about to walk through the doors. But design-wise, is that what you're asking me? How did we design it?
Right, like there's definitely a uniqueness to. There's only 3 booths, but they add such personality to the room. The whole room is not full of booths, and then there's tables, and then. Yeah. There's not. It's just, and then there's a divider that's not. Who had those visions?
Look, not to be handing out self-praise so early in the interview, but me.
No, well, that's cool. That's what I wanted to know. Did you have that eye for design? Was that?
Yes and no. I did have the eye for design. And you kind of hit the nail on the head, basically. But there's only 3 booths. There's an S-shaped bar that enables people to interact. There's a wall, there's low tables, there's big tables, so there's options. A micro environment, so to speak, for every kind of scenario that you might want.
And is that something that you learned just from working in the industry? You say, well,
yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. When you can go into places, into pubs, and you can just never feel comfortable. And all different kinds of people are in all different kinds of moods.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I feel that way about Putnam's. Not just because it's close in vicinity. I feel like if we moved away, still in Brooklyn, we would definitely come back. But
no, you would not. You're only here because it's across the street.
Is that right? Is that right? Well. But you just said about the moods, and Kim and I will often say, well, where do you want to sit? It's like sometimes we want to come and sit at the bar
absolutely,
and be chatty with people, and sometimes we're feeling like, let's sit in a booth tonight,
you just don't want to be. You just don't want to be bothered. You might have a
romantic evening. It depends on what you're up for.
Could be a business meeting. Could be it could be your first date. It could be, fourth date. It could be any particular thing, and you'll find a spot. You'll find a dark corner to sit in, or you'll find a bright light to sit under. Yeah. Depending on where on the spectrum you want to fall.
That's true. And it's been open for a little over 4 years, is that right?
4 years, yeah, it'll be 5 years in July.
And are you happy with how it's progressed since it's opened?
Happy?
Never happy.
Never happy. I always, people ask me that all the time. and you're kind of shamed into saying yes because you don't want to sound like a miserable fuck. But yeah, yes and no. Yes, I'm happy that people enjoy it, and people most certainly do. So that's where I find, you know, the happiness and the job satisfaction, so to speak, from, you know, from what we do here. I get that through other people enjoying the space.
Well, one thing that I think makes Putnam's unique in New York, because New York being such a large city, is that it's definitely caters to the neighborhood. And I think you probably are very reliant on repeat business and maybe people coming in 1 to 2 to 3 times a week. How do you maintain that? How did you approach trying to get the repeat business?
The business model, kind of right from the start, was, you know, we knew it was a neighborhood. It always will be a neighborhood. You know, there's only so much development that can go on, which is a great thing. You know, because we are in the brownstone belt. You know, so there's only so much demolition and reconstruction that they can do.
Except for that big corner over there on Myrtle and
yes,
Vanderbilt is
absolutely.
going to be a huge building, apparently.
Yeah. A beautiful building, so I'm led to believe not. But yeah, so look, no matter where you open a place, you're going to be reliant on the people, the surrounding neighborhood. But yeah, like you say, in Brooklyn and especially here in particular.
So it's coming up to be your holiday. It's coming up to be St. Patrick's Day. So we want to ask you some. First of all, Audrey corrected me earlier. I just want to clarify. It's not for all you Americans out there that say St. Patty's Day. It's not with a T. It's not a girl. It's a male. Patrick's Day. So it's supposed to be St. Patty's Day whenever you spell it. Paddy. Or say St. Patrick's Day. So along those lines, Gerry, what are some of the other things that Americans do to just obliterate this holiday?
They get obliterated themselves.
That's not part of the tradition?
Apparently it is now, which is a great modern tradition. But wasn't necessarily the way the holiday was supposed to. It's a religious holiday. So you're supposed to go to mass and say your prayers and confess your sins and, you know. And what is it that kid says in his new song? Offer us that deathless death. I think that's a good line. I like that.
What is it again? Say it again.
Offer us that deathless death.
Wow. What song is that?
What's that kid's name? Take Me to Church.
Oh, Hosier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to that.
Offer me that deathless death, as he's. That's how he.
Yeah.
That's how he chooses to look at the offer of eternal life.
Yeah. That's
which is which is kind of bang on the money, really, isn't it? Who the fuck wants to live forever?
Vampires.
Oh yes. Well, if I was a vampire, yes, there's certain perks.
Speaking of vampires, we're down here in the vault.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this is your second vision, because this opened a little bit after, maybe a year after Putnam's did upstairs.
Was it a year? Yeah, about a year, maybe a year and a half.
What existed down here before? This is all mysterious down here.
This was, you mean before?
Like, how did it look? Just to describe it to the listeners right now, it's a room where it's long, and there's maybe Gerry would be better at the detail, but there's a beautiful bar at the end that has a sliding door that could be used without having the full bar, and then there's a lot of wrought iron to divide the room space down into the vaults. There's like 4 vaults down there that can be rented for bottle service as well, but it's and then a DJ booth that keeps everybody entertained. So, Gerry, what was your thoughts on this room? What did it look like before?
It looked kind of like this, to be honest with you. I tried to not change anything. I tried to keep it as original and organic looking as possible, because it's a scary looking fucking room.
It is. You
know, which it's kind of cool when you get the lights down, the music playing. But these vaults they're like 1890. This building was built, so these are underneath the street.
1890. Oh, these are underneath the street.
The vaults are underneath the street. Yeah. A lot of especially down Myrtle Avenue, you'll find them on a lot of corners. They'll wrap around the whole. They'll wrap around the whole block. They used to dump coal into them from the street. to burn in the furnaces
Right.
way back when. So they're coal bunkers basically.
Huh.
If you look through them, you'll see in the back, you'll see a hole that in each one of them that's
Yeah.
been filled in with concrete.
Yes, I
There
have
used
seen
to be
that.
a chute that used to go straight all the way up to the sidewalk that they used to dump the coal in, and the coal would stay bone dry.
Now that's pretty fascinating.
And that there, what's that, 150 years ago?
Wow.
And they still stay dry. Well, some of them do. But they don't build shit like that anymore.
No, I agree. I agree. There's definitely
Yeah,
design.
those arched brick ceilings are pretty impressive.
Yes, and I agree that I love the way you did the spacing with the boots down there too. That kind of
Yeah, they
allows
work
it
out.
to be.
People enjoy them,
Yeah.
you know. So.
So, I didn't mean to change topics so quickly about St. Patrick's Day because it is coming up. So we've got some cool stuff happening here at Putnam's. Tell us a
Yes, we
little
do.
bit about it.
So Monday, the 16th, which is the day before St. Patty's Day.
No, you didn't.
We have our second annual Guinness and Oyster Festival, which is an old Irish tradition, Guinness and oysters.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's original.
Okay, that's a cool idea.
That one you can put in the right column. And it is what it says it is. You know, it's just lots of Guinness, lots of oysters, and hanging out and having fun and
And you're gonna have Irish music too, is that right?
traditional Irish music. Yes, every Monday night in March. So this Monday will be no different. We've got some really talented musicians that will be playing traditional Irish instruments.
And that's Monday and Tuesday, you said?
Just Monday.
Okay.
And also Guinness will be here. They'll have a separate bar set up. They'll be teaching anybody who wants to know how to pour a real pint of Guinness.
Really?
A lot of people still get it wrong.
I'm sure I would.
Well, you got to come and learn on Monday then.
All right.
And then Tuesday, the day itself, you know, we'll have just, you know, Irish music all day long, drinking and dancing and
So we can celebrate
being a menace to the
the
neighborhood.
holiday
basically.
the American way, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
It's
good.
the only day of the year where it's socially acceptable to be a degenerate alcoholic.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've seen signs, watch out for the fallen drunks, advertising St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But along the lines, you also have just launched the Irish music you're trying it out on Monday nights here at Putnam's. How's that going? You're thinking you might continue or you're not sure?
Yeah, I love traditional Irish music. It's you know, you could sit for hours and listen to it. You know, you really could. It's great. You know, and I've always wanted to. You know, I've always wanted to do it. You know, I go to trad sessions around the city whenever I can. And to be honest with you, I always just thought that there wouldn't be a market for it in Brooklyn. And I got talking to a guy, Michael Eagle, and he was hell bent. He was dead sure that there would be a market for it. So we said, all right, fuck it,
Is
we'll
he
give
one
it
of
a
the
shot.
musicians?
He's the main guy who
Okay.
organizes who books the guys.
Great.
So you get different musicians all the time, and
Great.
then you know we're hoping that it will grow. So we booked it in for every Monday in March, just to celebrate the Paddy's Day season, and we'll see how it goes. And if people are enjoying it, which they have very much done for the first 2 Mondays, yeah, it might be something that we keep going.
Great, and we'll definitely put some snippets on the SLB in the trailer podcast in the future if we don't get it in for this episode. But speaking of music in general, this podcast is based around helping indie artists and with promotion as well as musical influences and such. Can you tell us 3 of the, tell us a few of your influences as a child, like artists that you grew up with that we probably don't know? It'd be nice to hear.
Wow, well, that's a question, isn't it? Do you want to know pre-attitude or post-attitude?
Both, whatever you can give us. 'Cause
When I was a kid, my mother had a very strong influence on the kind of music that I listened to, and I listened to music from when I was very young. So I used to listen to Irish artists like Chris de Burgh, Joe Dolan. My mother used to listen to the Carpenters a lot. So stuff like that. you know.
So when you hear those artists, you think of your childhood a little
Yes,
bit. Yeah. Okay.
Christy Moore as well,
Right.
definitely another Irish folk singer. So a lot of that stuff that my mother used to listen to, and country and western stuff as well, used to always be on in the house when I was a kid.
Interesting. Country western was basically American music over there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't ask me about the names of any of the artists, but it was always on the Green Scene, LMFM.
The green scene. All
LMFM.
right, cool.
That's the radio show that used to be on in our house on a Sunday morning. So I grew up listening to a lot of that stuff. But then, you know, you get to the point, and then
The Attitude Years you were talking
the
about?
attitude years, yeah, absolutely. Somebody gives you a cigarette, and you hear fucking Oasis on the radio, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? That's great. What kind of shit have I been listening to all these years? You know, so you get Oasis, and you get the Gallagher brothers, and then of course, you know, the Stone Roses, Ocean Colour Scene, and then inevitably, you know, you end up listening to fucking Sex Pistols and all that crazy shit. You know, so it was that then for years. All those guys, you know, Bowie, big Bowie fan. Got into Neil Young then for a bit. So I listen to everything, really, to be honest with you.
What's on your current playlist, like maybe that you either run to or you just like to chill out to?
If you get into my car, the only channel that you'll find on my old car radio tuned in is 105.9, which is classic. It's a classical radio station.
Classical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I listen to that in the car, which is of benefit to everybody else that drives in New York City, because it keeps me. It doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't say it keeps me sane, but it keeps me, you know. The four wheels.
Keeps you from being the crazy Irishman.
Four wheels are still touching the ground, so. You know, you don't want those wheels turning and you'd be upside down, as another Irishman said in one of his songs.
Oh dear. But I know that you guys do playlists here. You do Spotify playlists throughout the night, and I wanted to see. Do like servers and bartenders make their own playlists?
Yeah,
too?
absolutely. Yeah, I actively encourage them. You were asking.
Okay.
You were asking me
Yeah.
about my playlist, what I run to, what I listen to right now.
Yeah.
You know, still all the old stuff that I grew up listening to, because I think the modern music it's fucking shite, innit?
Shite.
Yeah, the shit.
Just to
The
be
shit.
clear.
Yeah, the shit. The shite they're putting out, man. It's fucking garbage, isn't it? And
I don't think I'll have to edit shite, but fucking I might have to.
Right. Well, you can bleep it. Yeah, you've got, you know, it's just the shit that they're putting out on and they've all got fucking 10 people writing their songs, and it's all just a bit manufactured to me, you know what I mean? And like this Kanye West character,
Yeah.
you know, his music is fucking nonsense, but at least it's him. You know what I mean? And he gets such a hard time for speaking his mind, but nobody fucking speaks their mind anymore, do they? Everyone's a fan of everyone, aren't they?
That's true.
But I'm not a fan of any of them. I think they're all full of shit. And then there was one kid that came out recently. What was his name? I can't even remember what his name was. He did that song Lightning Bolt.
I'll have to look that one up.
Some English kid anyway, but yeah, I was like, oh, this kid is great, man. I listened to some of his songs, and they were wicked. And then, you know, you read through, and then he's got fucking co-writer. I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. More of it. More lies.
More co-writers?
More co-writers.
Oh, dear.
So just join a band.
Jerry's not a fan of co-writes.
No.
Do it your damn self. Is that how it is?
Do it yourself and be shit, or fucking don't do it at all.
Sometimes,
you know.
right?
You know, come and work for me in the bar.
Oh, God.
You know.
Well,
that being said, some of the stuff that goes on here on Sunday nights is brilliant, you know, because it's real, you know, and it's proper artists, you know, plying their trade and doing it the old way.
You know, it's interesting to try to get, you know, people get them out of their home on say a Sunday night to come and support live music, but it's just so close. And so that's been a challenge. It's just I think there's so many things competing for people's attention nowadays, like between TV and phones
There
and
you go.
everything.
Yeah.
Like we went to a concert and we saw Maroon 5, and he must have spoke for like 10 minutes telling the audience to put their phones down.
Oh yeah,
For
so
the-
yeah,
like
isn't
for
it
two and a
great?
half- for 2.5 minutes, can we just have a song without the phones out? And he was going around taking people's phones, Adam Levine, and putting it on the stage, and it was pretty amazing. And
That's that guy with
crack.
that's that guy from the TV,
yeah,
right?
from The Voice. Yeah, but it was a great show, and we saw.
The kid, that's the dude with the tattoos, right?
Yeah, the
He's got, you know why he's got all those tattoos?
No, why?
It's to distract people from the real reason of his music being shite.
Oh dear, I
I
don't
take
think.
that back. He's got some really clever lyrics, but again, it's very commercial music. But he's a great writer.
Right.
But his band are rubbish.
I don't think they'll be coming to play here on a Sunday night.
Fucking no, they won't. So they won't be asked.
All right then, we've got that covered. And then you took on a huge undertaking, changing this deli into what Putnam's now is. Was that a dream of yours to own your own business?
A dream of mine. I don't think so. I don't think I could call it a dream, to be honest with you. A dream of mine would have been to either be number 9 for Liverpool, scoring goals every weekend, or being, you know, the lead guitarist of, I don't know, fucking Rolling Stones or something. That's a dream. But no, this I wouldn't call a calling. Not a call. Just where I feel natural, where I feel at home.
In the business,
In the
restaurant
business,
Okay.
yeah, it just always felt comfortable to me. I always seem to be good at it.
Right.
Thankfully, because I'm fucking not too good at most other things.
Well, wait,
So-
you did bring up being a guitarist, and you do play the guitar. How long have you been playing the guitar?
I've been killing them softly for fucking, I don't know, 20 years.
So do you still play?
I do, but I tend to make sure that there's nobody else around for their sake. So, but I do play. I enjoy playing it, but I'm not very good.
So we can't get you to Putnam's Unplugged some night?
Or you might just get enough fucking Guinness and Jameson into me,
All
and you won't be,
right,
and you
that's
won't be
what
able,
I wanna hear,
and
yeah.
you won't be able to get me off the stage.
Yeah. Alrighty, we're gonna let you all know when Jerry's coming on dancing a jig at Putnam's Unplugged.
Yeah, right.
You might be able to see him do that this Tuesday. It's Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day. Anyways, so what would you tell somebody, knowing what you know now after opening this business? What would you tell somebody that is looking to open a restaurant? Anything that you would give them in terms of advice?
Looking to open a restaurant?
Yeah, that one is about to start a business, or just start a business in general. It doesn't have to be a
Just
restaurant.
don't fucking do it for the money. You know, don't do anything for the. If you're doing it for the money, there's easier money out there. You know, yes, you can make a lot of money in this business, but only if you love it first. You know, you have to be passionate about it. You have to want to do it. You know, and the money will come. You know, and you'll do very well. But as a side effect, you know, as an add-on, you know, will you make a lot of money doing it? Because if you're doing it solely for the money, if that's what motivates you, it's not going to work. Not in this business. Some businesses it will. Investment banking, I'm sure.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know much about investment banking, but I would
It's always-
imagine that a hunger for money would be a good thing.
Right.
But it's certainly not going to. You will enjoy your success, you know, on a monetary level. But like I said, only if you love doing this, and I would imagine that's true of most things, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of passions, you recently, a year ago, you completed the New York City Marathon. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
That's pretty awesome. That's not an easy task for anyone to complete. And what would be a tip that you would give somebody that's training for a marathon right now?
Stretch.
Right.
Yeah, because it was never high on my list of priorities to run a marathon. It was never really on my radar, and then I just decided to do it, and like a good old Irish boy, I just kind of laced up my running shoes and started running, and didn't do any of the other things that you were supposed to do. So I'm still hobbling around 6 months later trying to right the wrongs, as they say, in time for this year's one, which I've predicted a 4-hour finishing time or under 4 hours. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm a glutton for punishment, as they say.
So your next goal would be in the next year's marathon?
Yeah, I'm running it again in November. Yeah, it keeps me focused. Having something outside of work like that keeps me focused, and it keeps me out of trouble.
Right.
Most of the time.
Do you find that you do a lot of problem solving when you're running?
I don't at all. To be honest with you, I completely zone out. Okay. I think about nothing.
Well, I want to thank you so much for allowing us to come and interview you and find out more about Putnam's, because we're big fans, and I know they're coming down here to set up for tonight's Thursday, so they're going to have some DJ night tonight.
Yeah, functions. Function higher on a Thursday night.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else that people should know about what's coming up at Putnam's? I think you're starting a delivery service, which is cool.
Yes, I'm sure you've seen our bike at the front.
That's a cool-ass bike.
Absolutely. Everything I do is fucking
That's
cool.
awesome.
Man.
I can't wait to see Audrey around delivering
Absolutely.
delivering chicken.
Fucking right. Absolutely. Ring, ring. So that's going to be starting. And then next month we are going to be partnering with Stumptown Coffee Roasters. So we're going to be converting that front section, that front hostess stand inside the door at Putnam's into a barista station.
Wow, great.
Yeah, so we will be selling Stumptown coffee. We'll be doing it to go. We're going to have, iced coffee, nitrogen-infused iced coffee on draft.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So we're pretty excited about that. So that is coming to a Putnam's near you very soon.
Fantastic.
So watch this space.
So, yeah, there's a lot changing. With the delivery, you're doing that through Seamless, right? Seamless Web?
Seamless and Grubhub, but
right.
not exclusively through them.
Okay, you can call.
You can call.
Right. So lots of great things, and that's one thing I think you all do well here is like you transition just to keep things interesting and keep the neighborhood coming back. And if they don't want to come out in the weather, now they can have you come to their home.
We'll come to you.
And maybe Audrey can come with a little special request.
Absolutely. Easy.
Thanks again,
Be
Gerry.
a lot more than a $20 minimum delivery fee for that.
We'll have to set a price for a special delivery. Thanks again, Gerry Rooney, for joining us at Putnam's and for creating such a great business here for all of us to come to. And this is Devlin Miles of Sweet Little Bloodhound, and this has been an SLB in the Trailer podcast. Copyright production of Kim Nicolaius and Devlin Miles.